What's up, guys? Tim Halstead with DragBoss Garage. Welcome back to the channel for another episode of Pro Stock Mania. DragBoss Garage is where you see Pro Stock in depth. And today's feature is going to be about Scott Shafiroff, the kid from New York City. So if you watch this video, you'll see my car do a wheel stand where it comes up and starts dragging the bumper and actually hits the fuel pump. Here's a picture here, and the car rotates, leans over on the side, and starts sliding on the track, and luckily it went back over on its wheels. So we all have mishaps at the racetrack. They're embarrassing, they cost a lot of money, and the danger involved is sometimes unbelievable. But that's the chance we take to race. So I know you guys probably think back when you race or some of the things you've done that you've been embarrassed about or had things happen to you at the racetrack. I can tell you, here's another picture of a drive shaft that got tore out of my car. Just built a motor 385 Cleveland. First pass, the thing did a huge wheel stand, snapped the yoke right off a brand new Mosier rear end. Drive shaft came right out from the loop. I rolled right over it, broke the tire, broke the drive shaft, cut the tire, put a hole through the bumper, Zeus, and wrecked the valance panel, let alone a bunch of other damage. You know, I've had the throttle stick, and I end up in the sand traps at National Trail. You know, don't forget, shut the key off when you're trying to slow down. The wheel stands, there's pictures of some oil pans that I smashed. So we all have mishaps. So hopefully you learn from these incidents or events that occur at the track. You know, no one wants to go to the track and next thing you know, the car doesn't start or it stalls, or, you know, you want it to run perfect. Essential little details makes a big difference. We're going to feature Scott Shafiroff, who is a pro stock driver and engine builder extraordinaire. Now, I first heard of Scott way back in the day with his Mustang II when I was doing pro stock research on Glidden. And a guy by the name of Chris Leibenberg contacted me and he said, "Hey, DragBoss, I'm restoring Scott Shafiroff's Mustang II and I'm looking for an oil pan. Would you have one?" I said, "Well, I happen to have one." "Sure." So I sent that to him and he actually sent me another oil pan in return. So thank you for that, Chris. So Chris invited my family down to the museum, which is in Pennsylvania. Three Dog. I think we're going to go there this spring or summer. Take the family and Zeus and make a road trip there and check out the cars and see how they do things there. So I appreciate it, Chris Leibenberg. And P.S., if you get in touch with Jack Roush, I'm still waiting and I'm ready. But Chris Leibenberg works for Three Dog and he's restoring Scott Shafiroff's Mustang II pro stock car that he raced a couple years. He started sending me pictures and you'll see them in no particular order and kind of integrate it with Scott's racing. You know, he raced all kinds of cars. Camaro, 73 Vega by SRD. But here's some of the pictures of them. It had rails, a bunch of other cars. But I had learned that he got to the point where he didn't want to be a race car driver anymore. He wanted to build the engines. And way back in the 90s, I remember when crate engines kind of took off, Scott Shafiroff was one of the guys in New York who had a lot of offerings of big block Chevy and small block Chevy. And he did have some Ford because I was looking in there to see about buying a crate engine at one time. So he's built a lot of winning combinations. And his right-hand man, Tom, hooked me up with him and is doing the facilitation between us. I talked to Scott last week, and he's ready to do a live chat. So it's going to be awesome. We're going to hear about pro stock from back in the day. You know, he had some issues with a car where the bolt broke that was hold the ladder bar in. And he told me, and it's a famous picture, that what happened was that caused NHRA to change the rules where they had to make the ladder bar out of different tubing. They had to use a different type of bolt setup with a pin going through each side to prevent that bolt from coming out. They also designed, Zeus, say hi. Come here, say hi. Yeah, you good boy. They also, sorry guys, they also made the tubing out of a different size diameter. So what Scott told me was that Don Hardy contacted everybody that had bought one of his cars that had that ladder bar style setup and sent them all new ladder bars free of charge. Now here's an old ad from Don Hardy's catalog, and here's what the ladder bar looks like here set up, and then here's what Scott has now. Kind of compare it. So let's look through these pictures and enjoy the rich racing history of Scott Shafiroff, the kid from New York City. It also said on his car on the side, if I can get a picture and put it here, my son, the drag racer. So we'll have to hear the story from Scott himself. Like I always say at DragBoss Garage, you're always seeing and learning something new. So I talked to Tom, and if everything works out, we may have a live chat, maybe the 23rd or 4th. I'll make sure I put a post up for that. Enjoy the rich racing history back in the day when times were so much easier. Thanks, Scott Shafiroff, for helping be a pioneer in pro stock racing and racing in general.
Hi, Dad.
Oh, hi. Well, I was going to end this and start the video, but I just got to make a little short introduction. It's one of the boss sets, Elena. How are you, Elena?
Good. Zeus, stop pushing it around.
What did you make?
This.
I
Heart America.
I love America. Awesome. That's beautiful. What are you going to do with that? Hang it up in DragBoss Garage?
Yeah.
That's what she came out to do.
Oh, nice. And there's Mrs. DragBoss there. Say hi.
Guys.
So Elena wanted to bring this out here and hang it in DragBoss Garage
Hey, Zeus, stop it.
because I got half of the garage finished yesterday. All framed, insulated, OSB, cut perfectly. It's nice and toasty in here now. I don't even really have the heat on. It's crazy. So thanks, guys, for liking and subscribing to DragBoss Garage. Keep this channel going, right, guys? Let's record racing history.
Definitely.
Thumbs up.
Give a thumbs up and like and subscribe to DragBoss Garage. You always learn something new at DragBoss Garage.
So Scott raced his Mustang in the 75 and 76 Pro Stock drag racing season in NHRA. It was built by Don Hardy. Now, he ran a 351 Cleveland. I don't know the exact cubic inch. We'll get some information on that. But in 75, the best that car ran was 880 at 154. And they even made a model out of it. There's a couple variations. In 76, the car ran a best of 854 at 158. When you look at this Pro Stock car, Scott Shafiroff's, it's one of the best looking old Pro Stockers out there. With that gold leaf and old English text, yeah, that is one mean machine for sure. And Cleveland powered to boot.
Driving job in that Camaro. Talk about sportsmanship. This man had a flat tire in the staging lane. That's Scott Shafiroff from Syosset, New York. His competition doing a tremendous wheel stand on the burnout is Wally Jacobson of Elk Grove, Illinois. Jacobson sat patiently and waited while Shafiroff changed the tire to allow him to run in the finals. The head start will be going to the altered Camaro of Jacobson, close behind the altered Ford Mustang of Scott Shafiroff. And just holding on for the win, the first time ever in the winner's circle at an NHRA national event, Wally Jacobson leaving the line with the wheels in the air in that Camaro. His elapsed time, 9.85 seconds at 137 miles an hour. Shafiroff went 9:25 at 148, but remember, it was a head start for Wally Jacobson.
What is different about pro stock dragging than, say, AA or funny car? Well, pro stock is limited by rules. We have to run carburetors, we have to run gasoline. We're limited on displacement. The cars have to weigh so many pounds per cubic inch, so we're pretty well tied down. You might also add that we have to run stock-bodied cars. They have to have sheet metal, doors, windows, and the wheels in the correct place and so forth.
What does that mean from a standpoint of being successful?
Well, it means that you have to have a scientifically engineered car. The cars are built from the ground up. Even though they look like Detroit factory cars, they're highly experimental cars that cost in the vicinity of $25,000 to build.
In 74 and 75 in NHRA Pro Stock, the 74 through 76 Mustang II was raced throughout. Glidden raced one, Dino Don raced one, Lee Hunter had one, Scott Shafiroff had one, right? Gap and Roush had one and just restored that. So it was a popular body style. You know, I don't know about how well it launched compared to the other cars that day. That's a great picture right there. Toe strap there. I love that. Now here's the frame of the car being restored by Chris Leibenberg at Three Dog Garage. Great pictures. I don't think anybody has seen these. But here it is. The shop is a phenomenal place where they do excellent restoration jobs. Quality. Job number one right there. And the paint scheme is exact right down to the stickers on the doors. Now they were looking for one of the stickers on the rear quarters that was made by Cylinder Heads of America. And it shows a little area that looks like almost the United States in red, white, and blue. Right up there in the right corner is where you'll see it in the pictures if you go back and look. But the car is phenomenal. It's pretty much finished now. The engine is mocked up. The suspension is mocked up. And take a good look at these pictures, especially right here. Look at the details of the steering arm, the gold irradiated parts, that bad high-ported 351 Cleveland with the engine plate. Nice looking tin work right there. And those headers are a work of art. So Chris Leibenberg and the team at Three Dog Garage, they do an awesome job at restoration. Look at that. Beautiful pictures. Almost seamlessly falls right into this.